Thank you for watching. Today we're talking about dominant seventh chords, that funky bluesy kind of sound you'll hear. That kind of open sound. It's a little off kilter to some extent. So we're going to talk about the six, dominant seventh chords. I think every beginner should really start working on early on. We're going to start, with our C7. If you know the C chord, you watch the C chord video or anybody's C chord video. The C major starts up here on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. My ring finger is down here on the 4th string of the 2nd fret. My G string, 3rd string, is open. My 1st finger is coming down to the 1st fret on the 2nd string. That's my C major, but if I add now my 4th finger to that open G string on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, that's my C7 major chord. Or C7, C dominant 7th chord, excuse me. I'm not going to get into what makes it a dominant chord today or why, you're flatting the 7th on the major chord to get your dominant chord. Today we're just talking about the shapes of the basic dominant chords up here on the open position. It goes along with some of the other chords I talked about. So if you want to take a major C chord and make it, a dominant 7th chord, that's what we're here to talk about today. So I've got 6 dominant chords for you. So I have that C. The second one we're going to talk about is the A7. Just like the A chord, except we're removing one finger. So the way I build this chord, or anybody builds this chord up in this position, my 5th string is open. My middle finger now is on that 4th string, 2nd fret. My G string, ringing open. My ring finger now is on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. And I'm going to let the high E string ring out. That's my A7. The next one we're going to move on to is the G7 chord up here in the 1st position. It's pretty similar to the open G chord, but the thing is, this G is now going to be an F. Remember E, F, G? Remember that little... So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the ring finger this time up here on the 3rd fret of the top string, the 6th string here. My middle finger now lands on the 5th string of the 2nd fret. And what's going to happen is my 1st finger is going to land on the 1st string of the 1st fret, giving me an F note, to give me the G7. A G major, G7. Pretty powerful stuff here. Really gives you that tonality. So we have our C7, A7, G7. The next one is E7. If you watched my video on the 3 most common minor chords, I talked about the E minor, that particular progression becoming an E7 to give it tension in your minor progressions, minor chord progressions. So this string starts with an open E on the 6th string. I'm going to bring my middle finger here, 2nd fret, on the 5th string. The D will ring open, this open D. 1st string is here on the So we have our C7, our A7, G7, E7, the next one we're going to talk about is the D7 chord, and that's going to employ the bottom 3 strings. And I'm going to add this open 4th string, which is a D note. Open D, it's the D string. I'm going to start this chord with my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. First finger's coming down, 2nd string, 1st fret. My 3rd finger, ring finger, whatever you call it, is going to be on the 2nd fret of the high E string. That's my D7. C, A, G, E, D, all 7ths. Cool thing to think about with adding, you can kind of embellish, what chord you're on. So say, you have this open C chord, if you've got it down. You can throw this. Same thing with the G. So we have C, A, G, E, D. One more 7th chord I want to talk about over here in this particular position is the B7 chord. Might be a little tricky when you're first learning this particular chord, but you can think of the D7 position that we had down here on the bottom 3 strings. So I'm just moving all of that up. So now my middle finger is on the 5th string, 2nd fret, 1st string, 1st finger, 1st fret. My ring finger now is on the 2nd fret of the G string. Kind of that same shape. It's literally the same shape. I'm just moving it up to these strings here. And I'm going to use my 4th finger on the 2nd fret of this F sharp note. So this chord, was a little more involved. I'm using all 4 of, my fingers here to get this to ring out. And once again, I have this open B string on the 2nd string is ringing out. That string is not fretted. That's the B7. So we've gone over a lot today in this particular video. I just want you to be familiar with your 7th chords. They're going to come in handy. They add a lot of tension to a progression. Say you're coming along with your C here. You want to get to that G, but you want to do a G7. It's just going to give you a little more tension, a little more color to some of the chords, some of the progressions you start coming up with. So make sure you keep practicing these chords and get them under your belt. Thank you.